Today's current affairs. France and India begins Varuna joint naval exercise in the Goa coast, near the Goa coast. France and India begins joint naval exercise Varuna near the Goa coast. It's a very important naval exercise. Whenever any naval exercise takes place, you have to remember the name between which countries the naval exercise actually took place. The most important news according to me today is the UK, United Kingdom, have become the first country in the world. The UK have become the first country in the world to declare a national climate emergency, a national environment and climate emergency. See, there is a protest group called Extinction Rebellion. There is a protest group called Extinction Rebellion. This protest group is leading civil disobedience movement for a long time, particularly from last 11 days. There were huge protests in the Britain, finally leading for the country to call for climate emergency, environmental emergency. What do you mean by this climate emergency or environmental emergency? There is no precise definition for environmental emergency, but it means the issue will be resolved and care will be taken on war footing. The issue will be resolved and care will be taken on war footing, and climate and environment will be the key for any policy making. For every policy making, climate and environment will be the key. The Extinction Rebellion protest group asked for many demands, that is, make UK a carbon neutral country by 2030, zero carbon emissions by 2030, which is a really tough job for UK, because the major target of UK was by 2050 it is going to minimize 80% of its carbon emissions. And Extinction Rebellion also asked local councils consisting of citizens for environment related protection activities. Even that was not being considered. The only thing was the major demand, passing a law making environmental and climate emergency as a national emergency itself is a remarkable achievement, as UK is the first country in the world to pass such law. Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn have tabled the motion for this emergency, and the whole world is watching it UK today, and it is for the whole world to emulate UK, because climate emergency is not just emergency in UK, it is emergency all over the world, including India. It is an emergency all over the world, including India. President Vladimir Putin signed a law regarding sovereign internet. Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a law with respect to sovereign internet bill that will allow Russian authorities to isolate the Russian internet from other part of the world. Means Russia can regulate internet. You all know cyberspace is a space which is completely unregulated. Cyberspace is a space which is completely unregulated. It was controlled by private sector, and Russia wanted to control its own cyberspace by passing a sovereign internet law. In the world, the tough job today is to control and censor the data produced in the cyber world, because within milliseconds unlimited data, very difficult to censor, is being produced. Next important news for today, Loya Jirga. See, the word Jirga is a word from Pashto language. In Afghanistan, the parliament houses are called Oles Jirga, Mesrano Jirga. Jirga is a Pashto word. Loya, L-O-Y-A, Loya Jirga means a grand assembly or a grand council recently conducted for 4 days with respect to war, conflict and peace talks with the Taliban and all other issues in Afghanistan. More than 3,200 participants across various sections like tribal leaders, religious leaders, politicians and representatives, many participated. Loya Jirga. Okay, remember Loya Jirga. Next important news is Chandrayaan 2, India's moon mission. Chandrayaan 2 is India's moon mission. ISRO said it is going to launch Chandrayaan 2 in July through GSLV Mark III launching vehicle. GSLV Mark III, and it will be launched from Sriharikota. The mission aims to go for south pole of the moon. It is going to Chandrayaan to might go for the south pole. There are 3 modules of the mission. There are 3 modules: orbiter, lander and rover. Orbiter, lander and rover. There are 3 modules. Rover will be kept inside lander. After it lands there, rover will revolve. Okay. Orbiter, lander, rover. Majorly, rover will carry some instruments. Orbiter and lander also carry some instruments to do research in the moon. The orbiter and lander modules will be interfaced mechanically and they will be attached together, and the rover is housed inside the lander. After the launch, what will happen? The lander will be separated from the orbiter, and the lander will go to the destined place, and rover then come out. Roll out. Technically we can call it as roll out to conduct scientific experiments. Lander, orbiter, rover, all the 3 are meant to do scientific experiments. Coming to today's editorial page. A global label. Masood Azhar was designated as international terrorist. Masood Azhar was designated. So after many years, China have not blocked his designation as international terrorist, and India have waited for a long time with patience and persistence. Now let's see how other countries will react with respect to this. Their Jaish-e-Mohammed accounts, their transactions, all should be blocked completely. And You all know yesterday in Gadchiroli, 15 security personnel died with an Naxal attack. Gadchiroli district in Maharashtra, 15 security personnel died. You all know the deaths of various Jawans, CRPF and other places. Last year Sukma district. So this is a serious cause of concern. Government has to address the Naxal problem with a concerted action. The problem is there are many areas with Naxal effect, but there is no coordinated action between the states to stop the Naxal effect. Next important article, the gender ladder to socio-economic transformation. The gender ladder to socio-economic transformation. Here, women in employment. The women share in employment is coming down. Labor force participation rate, women labor force participation rate. Women labor force participation rate in India have fallen from 31.2% to 23.3%. Earlier it was 31.2%, now it is 23.3%. Why women are not going for jobs? Might be they are not getting the jobs what they actually ready for. Might be safety issues. Might be other type of qualifications, unequal wages, discriminatory treatment, or household work, anything. Most of the women are retained in agriculture, which is only sustainable but not lucrative. Most of the women are only in agriculture. The other point is, women does work but mostly unpaid work. Women does work but mostly unpaid work. Caring of the old people, caring of children, doing domestic chores which is completely unpaid. If you count the work done by women in the household which is not paid for, it will never match the man's work, because women will do substantially tremendous work if you count. And coming back, women between 25 to 59, if you see the count, the women who are aspiring, who are educated, who are aspiring to come into jobs, who are educated, women wanted the decent jobs. Educated women wanted decent jobs and they won't do agricultural jobs. But most of the women, they are still retaining in farming sector and other sectors. What we need is reforming the employment sector, creating a congenial atmosphere. And one more thing, urban women, educated women, they won't go to jobs, household work, unpaid work, importantly, safety related issues, and no job, proper jobs, facilities for women. And women will be discouraged even in the work related places, sexual harassment at working places. We have various things where women were discouraged from work.